It's always awkward in the beginning. I'm super late. I was so far away at 1 o'clock. It was unreal. I was like, oh no, it's 1 o'clock. I'm so far. I am so far. Hey, Shannon. I should have put my glasses on. I'm going to be the whole time. I'm ready to get into Mama Tina's book. Sorry that I'm late. I was so far away at 1 o'clock, and I just knew I wasn't gonna make it. I was really far away at like 12:47, and I was like, "Ain't no way, boy! Ain't no way, boy!" So I just relaxed into it. I was like, "Well, I'm gonna be late now. Might as well just be late. Be late, late." Somebody's calling me. That's a no for me, dog. I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes before we dive. Oh, I'm about to dive in. Y'all, I think this is a book. I'm gonna wait one more minute. This is a book that I need to go buy the physical book because it has pictures. And I thought maybe the audiobook would come with sometimes audiobooks come with a PDF or something. So you don't miss anything that was actually in the book, but this one didn't. So I'm gonna have to buy the book. My little makeshift workshop back there. I put a Q&A. You see it. I put a Q&A in the chat. I won't spoil anything for you, but if you want me to let you know if she talked about certain things before you buy the book or before you listen to it, I can let you know that if I remember. I think I remember everything. But okay, y'all. Let's get into it. We are going over Mama Tina Knowles, her book Matriarch. Okay, first let me get into the narration and the flow. Miss Tina, she talked kind of, she's from Houston, so you could speed it up. I sped it up to like 1.7. I think it was either 1.5 or 1.7. If people talk fast, you can't speed it up that much because they'll be like, you know what I'm saying? But she talked, kind of slow. So you could speed it up. Her reading of the book was good. Sometimes she got emotional, which added that extra element of, you could hear her voice cracking in the audio a couple times. And then other times you could tell that she was tired of reading the book. She would be like, and then it would be a huge sigh, like a whole bunch of sighs. She would be like, ugh. So then the year is 1975. Okay, so let's get into it. I didn't take any notes this time because the book was different. Maybe it's been a long time since I've read or listened to an autobiography sort of memoir style book, but I wasn't expecting it to be so uh flowery. Like it was giving fiction, but it was not fiction. Like she would be like, "Oh, we lived by the swamp where the grasshoppers, and the trees blew and the weeping willows blew." And she was painting a picture. You know what I'm saying? And so it was very much like, I think towards the end, it got a little bit more of what I was expecting, where it was just like, this happened, then this happened, this, I did this because this happened. It was like the middle to the end of the book. That's where it sort of got to that point. Histrionic. Girl, I don't know what that word means. So, okay. So the story starts off with her being the youngest of, I believe she said 8, but her mom was in her 40s when she had her. And so her older sisters were like already having their own kids. Like they were, she was the youngest. She was 5 and everybody else was like 30 or something. I don't know. So everybody else was just like super older than her. So she, in the beginning, she didn't really have a close relationship with her older sibling. She had a closer relationship to her actual, who would be considered her uncles, like her mama's other younger kids. Like that's why Uncle Johnny made my dress. She was super close to Uncle Johnny. And I think he may have been somebody is your uncle. That means your sibling had the grandma is the baby. Okay. The grandma had, okay, yeah. So Uncle Johnny is ads. You got to add. Hey, I got to get my coin however I can. Okay. I don't got no job, right? Overly theatrical or melodramatic in character or style, or exaggerated dramatic behavior designed to attract attention. I wouldn't say overly theatrical or anything like that. It was just very much more, she was setting the scene more than I thought she would. Like she talked about the environment a lot. This was early on in the beginning. She talks about like the Louisiana swamps and the stuff like, or girl, go premium. That's what I do. I don't get ads no more. I'm premium. So she just, I don't know, she just added a little, what I'm talking about? And so I don't want to like give nothing away, but she went over her upbringing and how she felt like she may have had ADHD, but they weren't really testing for that, back then, because she was very much like all over the place, unable to focus. She got in trouble at school a lot. And she was never one to hold her tongue. She always was talking back to the nuns at her Catholic school. And she used to, I guess back then the nuns used to whoop them, like if they got in trouble. And so she was like, oh, hell no. And one time she got hit on her hand with a stick or something like that, and with like a paddle, I think. And she went home and told her mama, and her mama was like, girl, what did you do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she felt like sometimes her mama wouldn't stick up for her in the best way, but she, you know, she loved her mama down, but I think as she has grown up and had her own kids or whatever, you could tell that she understands what the tension was with her mom now. You know, her mom is deceased now, but I think B is on the spectrum. No, for sure. For sure. I think she might have a little, I don't know if she could see notes or see, you know how what's that guy named John? He could see music, synesthesia or something like that. I forgot what it's called exactly, but I don't think she's quite there, but I think the way that she processes music is different. Y'all remember back in the day, it was a video that was going viral about her sitting front row at an NBA game, and she was like this. I just know she was in here talking about, you won't break my soul, you won't break my soul, and I'm telling everybody. Mm-hmm. She was like, she was in there processing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I think she got some kind of like musical. Her spectrum is her superpower is music something, because Mama Tina talks about that in the book as well. She talks about how, I mean, that's further down, but she talks about how, like, when she had Beyonce, how Beyonce was so shy and didn't talk to people. How one time she came onto a playground and Beyonce was pushing an empty swing. She was pushing an empty swing, and then Mama Tina went over to this other girl and was like, "Oh, I'm sure that little girl over there would push you in the swing if you went over there." And the girl looked over at Beyonce and was like, "I don't like her." Can you imagine? Can you imagine saying that to an adult? I would be like, "No, that's okay." I would never be like, "I don't like her." And then she said, Mama Tina was like, "Why don't you like her?" And the little girl said, "None of us like her." I'm gonna get there. We're gonna get there down the line. It was giving jealous. But okay, back to Mama Tina. Mama Tina, you know, she talks about her Creole upbringing. She talks about how a lot of the men in her family, like she had a lot of like uncles and brothers in her family, and they were all like super attractive. And so it was a lot of women around where they was from in Louisiana that was trying to get with her. I mean, get with her, like be her friend to get with her brothers or her uncles. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they all had kind of like greenish eyes. And, you know, first of all, let me tell y'all something. I got an uncle, like green eyes run in my family as well. And I got an uncle that's light skinned with green eyes. And he, you know, I think he was born in like the 60s. So imagine being a teenager in the 70s. He had a long perm. And, you know, my family got hair. He had a long perm with green eyes, light skin. It's women to this day. Is your mama Diane? Is oh, that was Leslie's sister. Was. Oh, how he doing? Ma'am, look him up. I don't know. Why is you Let me tell y'all something. I have learned from the men in my family that have the light eyes. I do not, as soon as I see a dude with light eyes, I run. I look away. And they gonna let you know that's how they take their pictures. Like, sir, zoom back a little bit, pull back on the camera. Why am I all up in your iris? Why can I see your ocular nerve? Cherry limeade. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, when she was talking about
You'll
that,
need to unlock your iPhone first.
that was so rude and disrespectful. I didn't say Siri. I said so anyway. When she was talking about that part, I knew that she was telling the truth because that's how it was. Now, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit just to tell this little story. She went to jail. What'd she go to jail for? I can't remember what she went to jail for. Oh, yes, I do. I guess I do. I'm gonna get to why she went to jail. But anyway, she was in jail. And the girlies in the jail instantly, because she looked, her family all looks alike, light skin with the eyeballs, and they all kind of got the same like features, whatever. And so as soon as she got up in the jail, the other jail girlies were like, what was her brother name? It was like such a black nickname. It was like Bucky. No, it was like Butch. You Butch sister? You Butch sister? She was like, yeah. And another lady was like, how you ain't you so-and-so sister too? And she was like, yeah. And they was like, how many brothers you got? they trying to get with it. And then whenever she got let out of the jail or whatever, they was like, who coming to pick you up? Which brother coming to pick you up? Who out there to get you? Send them in here to come get her. They was real thirsty, okay, for her bros. Okay, so back. I really should have took notes, but it was just it wasn't like a taking notes type of book. It was very much like I was listening to a fiction, like a novel. That's what it felt like in the beginning. It didn't feel like I was listening to like a factual like timeline of things, even though it was very much given in a timeline. She just made it so like eloquent, I think. Y'all, my wrist still hurt. Y'all. Beyonce, please. I'm not going to no doctor because I went to your concert twice. Okay, so Mama Tina, it's a hard timeline, but she moved, they were in Galveston. And then they moved to, okay, her mama had 2 kids. Her mama was divorced, okay? Her mama had 2 kids, Butch and Selena, or somebody in Selena. Selena was like the oldest sister, and by one man, right? And then met her daddy, Mama Tina's daddy, and had like all the rest of the kids. But the daddies looked alike. So all the kids looked alike. Like grandma, what's her name? Darion. She had a type. Okay. And she had a type because her first husband and Mama Tina's daddy apparently looked so much alike that people would be like, oh, you, I forgot the man's name. It was like Shank. It started with an SH. They would be like, oh, you, Shank daughter. And she'd be like, yeah, because they were just, she just said that to like not have to give the whole like explanation, like, actually, no, that's my mom's first husband. And then she would just be like, yeah, because, and then her mama's first husband and her dad were cool. They was giving, hey man, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? Type stuff. And they looked alike. They looked like brothers. but they were not related. So yeah, Grandma Darion, she had a type. Mama Tina talked about her mom's and her dad's accents and how one time her dad went to the hospital because like towards the end they were both very sickly, and one time her dad was in the hospital, and when she got there, he told her, the nurses said, I'm gonna die soon. So apparently the nurses were just talking freely around him because they thought he didn't speak English, because his Creole was so thick that they assumed it was just like a different language and he didn't speak English. So they were like, yeah, girl, he gonna die soon. Boop, boop. Yeah, I would say like today, tomorrow. And they just in the room with him. And meanwhile, he in the bed like, huh? And so Mama Tina go over there like, what is y'all talking about? My daddy gonna die soon. Like, why would you say that in front of him? And they were like, oh, he speaks English? Cherry limeade. Huh? Okay. So going back, Mama Tina, now this is what I want to know. Mama Tina was in a group called the Veil Tones, okay, with some friends of hers. And then they had like, it was like history repeating itself because a couple of the girls had to drop out and they had to find a replacement. Okay. Then they found the replacement and that girl couldn't sing like that. You know what I'm saying? Remember that one girl? Go get your luggage. Her. I feel like that was like history repeating itself. And then Mama Tina went solo. I gotta hear Mama Tina sing. To me, you know how you could hear somebody's voice and you could be like, you could sing, can't you? She don't have that voice to me. I don't know, but you know, yes, Edna be lurking. That's what I said. I was like, Mama Tina could sing. And then like later on in the book, when she went, she didn't really go solo. She was just performing by herself at these like clubs or whatever for like extra money. But she said she was nervous to perform on stage by herself because she was so used to like being with a group. But I will say this, back in those days, I think you could be a little less talented as long as you had someone attractive who was like the headliner and that person could sing. Like the rest of the group didn't really have to be that talented in the Motown days, like back in the day like that. You could just be a group and be like super entertaining. And as long as you hit your shoo-wop-doo-wops on the right shoo-wop-doo-bams, y'all might be famous. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no shade. I don't know. But I never heard her sing before. But I have a theory. I have a theory that Rumi could sing, because I don't know if y'all have seen footage of her, like when she's behind the little box before she comes out at the concert. One time she said, what's the song? You're gonna shine on your own. Rumi was like in the back, whatever the lyrics were, Rumi was in the back, and she said, she had her finger like this, and she said, and she brought it down. I said, uh-oh, I think Rumi can sing, because how would you even, and she like shook her head like she has a run in her spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like the run was coming out. People that can't sing don't know how to run like that. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I think Rumi could sing. So what was I talking about? Well, it's still like that. Not for Black people. It's like that for white people. I would say it's like that for white people. Like you could be mediocre and white and make it and still be amazing. But I think Black people, we require, You have to be able to sing better than me in the shower to be famous. And Black people can sing, like, just there's like a level of singing, that a base level that most Black people could sing at. I feel like Blue is doing this until she figures out what she really wants to do, and Rumi is the entertainer. I think Blue is spitting image of Beyonce physically, spitting image of Solange everywhere else. Like personality, I don't know about personality wise, but I know about like her desire to dance and stuff like that. That's Solange. That was Solange's jam. Speaking of Solange, y'all probably already, she told the story about, meeting, it was a lot of book before she met Matthew. And so the book has like 50 something chapters. And so I don't know, I knew that she was going to tell her early life story, but there was a lot of book before she met Matthew. And she talks about how she moved to LA. She talks about how what about Jay-Z? Ice Spice, those are rappers. I'm talking about singing. Jay-Z, did she talk about Jay-Z? Is that what you're asking? Or are you saying Jay-Z can't sing? So I'm trying to think if there was anything like substantial before she met Matthew, because when she met Matthew, she did have a lot of help along the way. Like, what I noticed about her story is that like she moved to LA, like she was like, I got to get out of Galveston, and she moved to LA and like on her own. But when she got there, she met somebody, and the girl was like, you can stay with me. And she stayed with this girl. And then the girl got a man, and they were going to move in together. So another lady at her job, she worked at like the Shiseido counter at the mall. And the lady was like, she was like, man, I got to find somewhere to live because my roommate is going to move out. I can't afford the rent by myself. And the girl was like, oh, you can stay with me. Huh? She had a lot of help. No, with the girls, people never see Jay-Z in them. Oh. I just think that how do I say this? I just think the Darion side is very strong. I think those genetics are very strong on that side. That was her older cousin. Okay, that was her older cousin when she got to LA. I miss my fam being tight. That was the original networking. Okay, girl, Janessa Virgil. I had just said that in the car on my way here. I was just thinking about how I was just thinking about how I wish I had like, I mean, my cousins are my friends, but like we don't hang out. You know what I'm saying? It's like back in the day, like my whole family, not my whole family, a lot of my mom's sisters and uncles and even her brother, they all, when they got old enough, they moved to LA. It was like, that's why I have an LA chapter of my family. But they moved to LA, wait for it, for Soul Train. All of them wants to be on Soul Train. And they were like, we gonna make it. They was in Chicago, like, hey, you can't tell me nothing, man. You can't tell me nothing. And they thought they could make it. Only one of my aunties made it on the Soul Train, and then she was the actual dancer and like later danced for LL Cool J, stuff like that. Anyway, I digress. Back in the day, I could go to Texas, New York, LA off of aunts and uncles alone, but everyone moved back to NC. Yeah, it could be like, I remember one time my cousin was in New Orleans and she just knew that I was in Mississippi and she didn't know like distances from things. And so she called me like, where are you? I'm in New Orleans. And I was like, I'm in Jackson. That's not close. I mean, it's like 4 hours or whatever, maybe 3.5. She was like, oh man, I thought you was gonna be like right over a bridge or something. I'm like, no, but she was from LA. Shoot, after watching those mini Soul Train dancer docs, I see why folks moved out there with $1 and a dream. No, for serious. Like, if you had a look about you and you felt like you could dance down, like you could get in. Apparently, what they did on Soul Train was, you know how they had, this is what my family members told me. You know how they had all those people dancing in the center, and then they had some people that was up on the platforms, right? So people would line up to be chosen. And if you were chosen out of the line, then you would be in that big center group. Now, if you had a look and or maybe somebody picked you out of the crowd, you could get on a platform. And if you were a recurring platform person, that's when you got paid. None of them other people got paid in the middle. They was just on TV. You know what I'm saying? One of my uncles, to this day, everybody moved to LA and he didn't go. And he still, to this day, he'll bring up that like, man, I would have been on Soul Train. He thinks that he still would have been on Soul Train if he would have gone. I'm like, why didn't you go? Literally everybody went. Even my mama went. My mama didn't want to be on Soul Train, but all of her sisters and brother was out there. So she was like, okay, we moving to LA. My mama didn't like LA. That's why we came on back. But we was out there for a little bit. I have a California Social Security number. I went and I do taxes, okay? Listen, in them 70s, the Chicagoans was trying to escape this weather. And what they had seen on television, they was like, oh, I could go do that real easy. We dancing over here in these clubs for free. Okay, let me go. Let me go on out there to LA. So anyway, she moved to LA. She met Tina Turner at the Shiseido counter, and Tina Turner was looking for lip gloss, and she was like so starstruck or whatever. And then like later on in the book, she said that she brought it up like when she actually met Tina Turner, like for real, like after, you know, Beyonce was Beyonce. She was like, I actually met you before, like at the Baker's something mall or whatever. And Tina Turner was like, oh, I used to stay up in there. I used to be up in there all the time. And she was like, yeah, I worked at the Shiseido counter and I sold you some lip gloss. And she said you could tell Tina Turner was like, okay. She don't remember you. She don't remember you, Mama Tina. She don't remember you. Okay. Boom. I'm trying to hurry up and get to the part where she met Matthew, because that's where I got some things to talk about. Okay, so let me see if I missed anything. She moved to LA. Her mama got sick, I believe, and that's what made her move back to Galveston. And then she still wanted her like freedom or whatever, so she moved to Houston. Just looking for like a better job, and she worked at where she worked? Not Microsoft. IBM? No. I don't know. Anybody else read the book? Y'all know what I'm talking about? She worked somewhere in like a company, but it was like closer. She was back and forth. It was sort of hard to like keep up with. Visa, MasterCard. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, she worked at Visa. Matthew thought she worked at MasterCard. She said, I never told you I worked at MasterCard. I worked at Visa. So anyway, let's just get on to the part where she meets Matthew. So she met him at a party. And from the very beginning, they had like a relationship, because the first thing he said was, don't mess my records up or something like that, because she was looking through his record collection. The party was at his house, I guess, and she looking through the record collection. He don't mess up my records now. And she, ain't nobody finna mess up your records, boy. The fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? She giving that back. And so from the very beginning, it was very much giving, I love you, but I hate you. But I can't love you because I hate you, but I love you. It was giving very much that. That should have been a clue to how it was gonna be in the future. Okay, so boom. One thing I did like about Matthew Knowles and the way that she told the story was that men like sass. No, men like crazy. Okay? I always say this, men love me when I'm mean to them. But as soon as I start actually loving them, they be like, ooh. I'll be like, so you want me to be mean to you? I think, they mamas was mean, so they like that. Okay. So anyway, one thing about Matthew Knowles is he came off as a very fierce protector of his family, right? Of Tina, if anything was going wrong with Tina, or if anything was, going on with the kids, he was always able to jump in and curse somebody out or say what needed to be said, things like that. So I really liked that about him. Now, he could not stay faithful to save his life. Like she said pretty early on, he was already out in them streets. So the thing about Mama Tina and Matthew Knowles' relationship that was surprising to me is that it was so much in and out. Like they was broken up. They was back together. They was broken up. They was back together. He was, please, baby, please. She let him back in. She like, I'm getting a divorce. And then he, and then she, okay, we back together. And then they would go through like this honeymoon period of like, I'm sure they was just, and then he would just start cheating again. You could tell he was a loyal friend, but a horrible partner. Yeah. It's like, I mean, you could tell that he actually loved his family, but he lacked impulse control. And there's a thing, I learned about it on Law and Order SVU. Was it Law and Order SVU? It was one of them shows where there's like a some kind of like disorder about impulse control. A lot of not a lot, but some like serial killers have it because they don't have the thing that'll stop them from doing whatever their head is like, I could just kill her right now. They don't have the thing that says, no, don't do that. He took care of his own, but that ego needed stroking. Okay. And let's be honest, he had a lot of money for back then. And so the girlies was probably jocking, and he had the nice cars all the time. Even when he was supposed to be, when they had Beyonce and he was supposed to bring home a sensible car, he brought home a convertible Jag. And all them work trips, when she said he was going on a work trip to Atlanta and she couldn't come, I said, oh, I said, that's not no work trip, mama. Even if it was a work trip, one of them coworkers was the work. Hello? So that was surprising to me that Matthew Knowles was such a, for some reason, he doesn't give off like, baby, please, baby, please, let me back in. He don't give that energy to me. So I was very shocked to hear about how much he was begging to come back. And he would even say sometimes like, can I just stay here for the night? I don't want to go back to my empty apartment. I'll just sleep on the couch. I won't even bother you. I won't even mess with you. And she said she would lock her door to make sure that he didn't come in. And then, of course, in the middle of the night, Tina, can I just lay down with you? I just want to, He didn't like, I don't know. He just didn't give that to me. I don't know. But it was so much back and forth that I think Beyonce and Solange both were like, just break up. What is this? I'm tired. Oh, another thing. Negro, this ain't Love Jones. Okay. No. You was over there, so be over there. Because my thing is, as soon as you step out on your marriage, you put in my life in danger because you don't know who that lady been with. I don't like that. That's nasty. You don't know who that lady been with. And then you want to come over here. And then all of those people that she knew, well, back then, they didn't think that AIDS and HIV affected straight people, which was ridiculous. But all of those people that she knew, you know what I'm saying, was affected, through Uncle Johnny. She knew a whole bunch of people that was affected or, died from HIV, died from AIDS or infected with HIV or whatever. And she never once mentioned that she was nervous about him stepping out with people, like for her own like health. That's my first thing. Like, if you stepping out, well, I ain't gonna be with you no more anyway, because I'm as soon as you cheat, I'm the type that's just like, oh, we don't like each other no more. Okay. It's like a shield comes down and I never raise it back up. But the way that she was just so easily time after time after time able to open the curtain and lift the veil and knock down the wall and let him back in, it shocked me. And here's a theory that I have, and y'all let me know, because I'm sure some of y'all have children, okay? And I don't know if some of y'all married, if y'all got like a child's father or something like that, but I have a theory that says if you are married and you have a child with a man, even if y'all divorce or whatever, that man is like always your man, like in your head. Even if y'all break up, the kids are grown, they still, like, both of them still see each other as their partner. It just didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't work out because we was young and but they still, the eyeballs are still there. This is just my theory. Okay. Now I do know that some of these people hate their exes and they be so happy to get away from them. But I feel like she wasn't trying to go back to her old lifestyle. I just think his lifestyle was just so impulsive and spontaneous that I think just she wanted more stability, which is interesting because when Beyonce became Beyonce, she didn't have no stability. She was all over the place when Beyonce became Beyonce. But yeah, the way that he just was unable to, I mean, just to overshare, my granddaddy has a lot of outside kids from my grandmother, but I always attributed my grandmother staying to the laws that were in place at that time. Like you couldn't get a mortgage without a man at that time. You couldn't get a credit card without a man at that time. You probably couldn't open a bank account without a man at that time. And so some of those women, you know how these dudes nowadays be talking about like, oh, women back then, they used to stay with their man. They used to fight for their love. They had to. They didn't have a choice. They did not have a choice. If they wanted to be in a home, they did not have a choice. So there's a story in my family that my granddaddy had a baby with this other lady in between every baby that he had with my grandmother. And so my grandmother knew the lady. And so one day after she was pregnant with like her second, and my grandma had just given birth to her second, she went over there and she was like, is that Les's baby? And she was like, no, it's not. This is not Les's baby. No. It was Les's baby. I was so mad when they had to sell that first house. I just kept yelling so many dumb decisions as I was reading. Right. And they moved so much. When they moved from the house with, like, it seemed like a good house in the third ward house, but then they wanted to move to this particular street that was like everybody wanted to live on this street. I thought that was a weird move because, like, who cares? You already have a great house in the third ward, but everybody want to live on this street. And then they didn't even move to that street. They moved to another street. So I was like, I really don't, I didn't get it. But, you know, back then people was doing stuff for appearances. So, I mean, they still doing that, but you had to look like you had money, you know, you had to do some stuff. I couldn't imagine being tied to someone that impulsive. Okay, me either. That's the same as like gambling addiction or something like that. Like remember that time when she said, if we had $100,000, he would spend $70,000 on a brand new car and then be like, oh, we gonna make it work because we gonna have this and this gonna fall through, and then this didn't come through, and now y'all broke. I think that was more so about the group, the girls. I think if they had $100,000, he would spend $70,000 on like shipping out stuff. I don't know what it was, the magazine, child. I don't know. They had a lot of like little businesses because he was so impulsive and like, nah, we gonna be millionaires. Can you imagine being with a dude that's like every bright idea he has, he just jumps in like, I just woke up. I got an idea. We need to start a magazine, and we gonna put in 50K, and you put in 25. I'm gonna put in 25, and then we gonna go to all the hair shows, and we gonna it's gonna work out. No. Just listen to me. He get a pen, start writing stuff, and now all of a sudden you part owner in a magazine because he woke up and had a thought that he needed to do right now. Like, baby, can we think about it? Can we plan? Can we do some research? Who else is doing this? How are we going to get these magazines to the hair shows? The shipping costs, have you looked into that? How are we making money? Who's buying the magazine? But telling the girls how to budget for their tours and such, the nerve. Okay, the audacity. But he did make them smart, because a lot of those artists, who did you think she was talking about when she said, I think it was Usher. I'm gonna just tell you who I think it was. I think it was Usher, but she said one artist that they knew of bought a car and bought something else and didn't have no money by the time the sales or whatever, the check came, because he had, well, it wasn't he, she didn't say he, she just said they spent all their money before. Who did you think that was? I thought it was Usher. I don't know why I immediately thought of Usher, but yeah. I think he did set him up for success with the whole, like, don't spend all your money. It's not free money. It's staying at these nice hotels and da-da-da. It's coming out of your paycheck. TLC, she made it seem like it was just one person though, but they were super cool with TLC. She made it seem like it was just one person. I don't know, but what was I talking about before that? I don't know, y'all. The book was very interesting. She talks about, conceiving Solange over there in the Nile River or whatever. Talked about how she came up with the names for her kids. And it was very interesting, the middle names, because it didn't seem like Beyonce's or Solange's middle name didn't seem that meaningful to me. It was like Beyonce's middle name was because somebody she saw, I can't even remember, but somebody was named Giselle, and then she saw it again. Like she said, if she sees anything twice, she just takes it as a sign. And so she was like, Giselle, that's it. And then Piaget is Solange's middle name. And she saw a watch that had Piaget on it, or a Piaget watch or something. And then, of course, she saw it again somewhere else. I don't know, but they just didn't. It seemed like she was just like she just pulled them out of the air and was like, yeah, that sounds cute. It didn't. I would think that, however, when she was on Scott Evans, is that his name, on that show? Mama Tina was on that show, house guest. She said that, when she looked up her ancestry, when she did her ancestry genealogy or whatever, she found out that some of her ancestors up the line, like there was a couple people named Solange, and she just, she picked that name out of a baby book, out of a French baby book. Giselle was Matt's roommate's girlfriend name. Yeah. I'm like, huh? Like what? And then she liked it, but then she said she saw it again somewhere, and then she was like, oh, if I see it twice, it's a sign. I would think that she would have named her familial names. Like they seem so like very entrenched into their family lore and their family history. And I like that. I have turned into like the family historian of my family. Like people call me like, Tracy, who is the one that's married to the other one? I'd be like, okay, see, Roy Dale and Albastine, okay, they were sisters. Sorry, you have to get it. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But my family calls me for that. And very Black of her. No, for serious. I didn't want to say it, like some random ballerina or performing artist she saw was Giselle, and then she saw Piaget on a book at the doctor's office. This is what I'm saying. It just seemed like the middle names were not thought through as well as the first. Solange's first name wasn't thought through that well. She literally was just like Solange in a book because she thought it was going to be a boy. She thought Solange was going to be a boy so hard. She just knew, because her pregnancies were so different. She just knew that it was going to be a boy so hard that she only had the name Knowles. I don't like that name. I don't like that. I actually know a girl named Niles, and it's actually, I think her name is Nile, but everybody, because we're Black, puts an S on the end and calls her Niles. Anywho, she skirted around some things that I could tell Beyonce probably ixnayed out of the book, okay? Out of the whole Farrah addition to the Destiny's Child thing, she skirted around that. She skirted around why the two girls left the group. Skirted around that. Didn't really. Unfortunately, two girls decided to leave the group. It was basically that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't go into detail about that stuff. One thing that I found super interesting was that she seems like, I always picture her as very strict, very much like in line. Like, she has like such a stern grandmama face. Like, she looked like she'll yoke you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, but she seemed very much not the disciplinarian. The girls was cussing in front. I'm like, oh, is this some rich shit? This is rich. Because, when she said Solange, she tried to get what did she try to get? She tried to get Solange to have a wedding somewhere, whatever, and she tried to get her baby daddy to talk her into it. And Solange told the baby daddy, fuck you, fuck her, fuck. She went off. And then he came back and told her, she said, fuck me, fuck you. Listen, I was shocked. I was shocked. She did go into detail about like how Solange had lost a lot of people along the way. And so when she got pregnant, it was sort of like they were sort of more understanding, because she was just like, I'm keeping my baby. This is a person that I can love, you know, whatever. Because she kept like her people that she was into, they kept dying. Like, her best friend ended up dying, her therapist, it was like 3 or 4 people that ended up dying on her. And so she was just very much like, everybody that I care for or whatever just ends up passing away. So she was like, when she got pregnant, she was like, I'm keeping my baby. At 18, she was the rebel. No, she really was. And the younger sister usually is, right? Like, they always say that older one is like the one that's like organized and like more caring, and the baby is just like whatever. But it was very surprising to me how much more of a friend relationship she seemed to have with the girls, even at a younger age. I was imagining a very strict, like, I thought she was gonna just tell us about all the times that the girls got in trouble because they did the doop. But no, she was very like, she probably was worried about that man. Okay, that's what she had her eyeballs on. She talks about Headliners, her salon in Houston, her business, and Headliners is such a good name for a salon. Like when I first heard that, I was like, she really did her big one with that. Like now she can't, she not that great at middle names for her children. but but she did that. She did that when she came up with Headliners, baby. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And for those of y'all who weren't here at the beginning, I said that I listened to the book and she was the narrator, and sometimes her voice would crack and like she would have emotion, especially when she talks about her mom. And I cried, I think, 3 times. The first one was when her mom passed away, and of course, and then I think I can't remember the other 2 times, but I definitely cried 3 times. The first time was the mama dying. And that had me. I was like, ooh, they should have I need a trigger warning. Okay. I need a trigger warning in the beginning of TV shows, movies, books, mother dying. There's a mother death in here somewhere. Cause damn. I mean, I knew her mama was dead. I knew her mama was dead. I knew she was probably gonna talk about it, but like, I was sad. And then her voice, she was like, you could tell she was holding back her emotion in the narration of the book. No, that did me in and under. What else, y'all? What else happened? Janessa and Aspiring Naptress, because y'all the only ones read the book too. What else happened, y'all? She talked a little bit, like maybe this much, about Richard Lawson. At the end of that, because I always wondered why they got divorced, but what it sounded like is, and y'all let me know if y'all felt the same way, because I think y'all actually read like the pages of the book. But when she was saying it, to me, it sounded like she got unhappy at some point, like maybe he wasn't doing the same things that he used to do. And she knew her history of going back and forth with Matthew, and she put the kibosh on that shit. She did not even give it a chance to change. She was like, oh, I filed for divorce. Like immediately. That's what it felt like. It felt like she was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna do all that back and forth like I did with my first husband. Okay, it's over. Yeah. Someone said he was too much of a pretty boy. It's so funny because are y'all watching that Tyler Perry show on Netflix that he's in? What's it called, y'all? Y'all know my brain is trash. But he be cursing and stuff on there. I'd be like, oh, look at you. Do y'all wonder, okay, I might need to cut this off and then come back, because I don't want nobody to come in here for the review of this book and I just start talking about something else. Let me write it down so I don't forget, because y'all know my memory is trash. What you call that? What you call that thing? It's like a can't even think of it. Okay. She said he brought out the worst in her in an interview, so I wouldn't be surprised if she went easy on him in the book. Plus, he went hard on the corn? Wait, you talking about Richard Lawson? That is interesting. I know when they had their or when they first met or whatever, and she said he was like, "What about me?" You know, when he asked her what she was looking for or whatever, and he said, "Well, what about me?" And she immediately was like, she said, "Even though he's older than me, I immediately said I'm too old for you," because apparently he was dipping and dabbing in them young things. Um, wow, Janessa, that's crazy. His Twitter leaked a while back. Not him retweeting. Oh, he was liking. Liking corn on Twitter as a celebrity is bonkers. That's actually wild. That's actually wild. Bro. No, that's crazy. Um, I'm trying to think of anything else that happened in this book that was like a surprising thing. Overall, I'm going to buy the book because like I said before, it has pictures in the book and because I listened to the audiobook, I did not uh see any of the pictures. I actually saw a TikTok of somebody going through the book and showing the pictures. That's how I know the book got pictures. Otherwise, I would have just been in the dark about that. But I like to I actually talked about this in therapy on Monday. I like the full story. Like when I am listening to like a true crime podcast or something, I'll Google the person so I know what they look like, so I can imagine what is going on in the, you know what I'm saying? I need the full world. And it really gets annoying for men specifically because I ask a lot of questions to get there. But it's not annoying for women because women give details and women notice details. Men, you'd be like, okay, so what did she come back? Like when she came back, what did she say? She didn't say nothing for real. Did you have to write her up? Yeah. It was right after the divorce announced he got dragged. Oh my God. I can't believe it. Chicago win. Oh my God. It's like he gives like he could be nasty, you know what I'm saying, a little bit. But he also gives like very much dad vibes. Ambulance, not police car. Um, yeah, it was an accident early this morning, 7:30 this morning. I heard boosh. I was like, wow, that sucks. On the way to work, please. Anyway, are you done? Anything about Bianca? No, I don't think. Just that they were still kind of cool. Like she was still cool with him and his family or whatever. But I don't, she didn't mention her specifically. Oh, you are brave. I refuse to Google true crime. Why? You might be listening for the wrong thing. I'm listening so that I can figure out what they did wrong so that I don't repeat their mistake. Scorpio gang. Clink clink. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, y'all. I'm going to end this live right here, but I'm about to hop right back on live because I wanted to bring up this other thing that has nothing to do with this book. So I'm gonna just hop back on. So overall, oh snap. I gotta tell y'all the book for next month. The book for next month is okay. Yes, the book for next month is called Bittersweet. It's by Susan Cain. And the book is about grief, getting over grief and sadness. And the reason I picked it for June is because my mama's birthday is in June. And I usually slide down into a sad place around her birthday. I'll read y'all the thing. It says, sadness is your superpower. In her new masterpiece, the author of the best-selling phenomenon Quiet explores the power of the bittersweet personality, revealing a misunderstood side of mental health and creativity while offering a roadmap to facing grief in order to live life to the fullest. And then she has some it says, bittersweetness is a tendency to states of longing, poignancy, and sorrow, an acute awareness of passing time, and a curiously piercing joy at the beauty of the world. It recognizes that light and dark, birth and death, bitter and sweet, are forever paired. Mm. Mm. Okay. Includes a downloadable PDF containing a bittersweet quiz. Okay, that's what them pictures should have been, Mama Tina. Them pictures should have been in a downloadable PDF because I want to see the pictures too. Oh, something happened. Okay, so yes, Bittersweet by Susan Cain. I'll show y'all the art. I thought I was going to show y'all the art. That is the book for June. It is 7 hours and 35 minutes, so it's not that long. Oh, let me give y'all the details for Mama Tina's book. Mama Tina's book was long. It was like 13 hours. Hold on. Let me see.
Act 1, A Daughter. Chapter 1.
This is how she sounded.
June 1959.
I got her on.
Steps out the door by the time my mama realized.
I got her on 1.7. No, 1.5.
And I was running out the house to my sister's.
This the regular speed.
You need to let me comb your hair, my mother called from the door, and brush your teeth. Okay, mama, I said, aiming to fall between pleasing and pleading as I kept.
You see what I'm saying? It's giving fiction. This 1.2.
A perfect summer day like this one at age 5 could last you forever if you started it early enough.
This 1.5.
Or else I'm not going to let you go over there, Teeny, she said, her voice farther from me now. She would not get louder than that. I knew that. She had what people on the island called a sweet demeanor, and I could outrun the sound of her disappointment.
That's what I listened to it at, 1.7.
In Galveston, the wind off the Gulf.
What's the name again? For the June book or for Tina Knowles, Matriarch? This is Tina Knowles, Matriarch. And then the June book is called Bittersweet. I had to listen on 1.2 to 1.5. Her cadence was too slow. Yeah, it's very Southern. I mean, if I had the time, you know what I'm saying? If I would have listened to it earlier, I try to listen to it closer to the end of the month because y'all know I will forget all the details. So I start listening to it like the week before so that I don't forget anything. Um, but yeah, it was very slow. I definitely had to speed her up, but I know how, the southern people talk. It's giving her up, her up. Overall, I thought the book was good. I thought the audiobook was cool, you know, sped up. Um, there were things that I feel like I did learn some things about Mama Tina, about her mothering, about her upbringing that I did not know before. I also learned a few things. We kind of already know Beyonce's story, but I feel like I learned a few things that I didn't know about Beyonce's story just based off of her mother's point of view. And so I always think that's an interesting thing because you are two different people intertwined at the same, in the same lifetime, but something that Beyonce is probably going to write about in her memoir 20 years from now and what Mama Tina wrote are probably from two different perspectives. And, she experienced pushing nobody on the swing and Mama Tina saw her pushing nobody on the swing. You know what I'm saying? So it was just some things like that. I learned a good bit about Solange. I mean, we already knew Solange was the firecracker, the cancer, the sensitive one, the pop off one. We already knew that. But I did learn some things about her. But overall, she did a good job at she talks about Michelle having a mustache. And I was cracking up. She said when they first somebody had recommended Michelle and she called Michelle and she said, Michelle, send me a picture. And Michelle sent like an Olin Mills like glamour shot from the mall and sent her this picture. And she had a mustache. She had a whole bunch of makeup and a mustache. And then she showed it to Beyonce. Mama Tina showed it to Beyonce, and Beyonce was like, can you have her send a picture with no makeup, just like a regular picture? And she sent a regular picture. Her hair was like just straight down, whatever, and she still had a mustache. And so when they got her, when they flew her out or whatever, Mama Tina sent her straight away. Yeah. Get that out of there. Get that out of there, baby. And then she said Michelle called it her boyfriend. She was like, my boyfriend? Yeah. Get her out of here. What about the kids that didn't play with her? Have they told their stories? Right. Now that is what I want to know. Because okay, at one point, Mama Tina told this story about these two girls that started bullying Beyonce because she had like this little white coat. I can't remember what kind of coat it was, but some kind of, fancy looking white coat. And Beyonce wore it to school. They started talking about it, saying it was ugly, da da da. And then Beyonce brought it home, like, I'm not wearing this coat no more. I got talked about, like, they said it was ugly. And Mama Tina was like, who said it was ugly? And she was like, this girl and this girl. And she said, you know what? Go to school tomorrow, bring the coat, and tell them that your mama said, y'all can have it. I don't want it anymore. And she said, now watch and see if they want that ugly coat. And Beyonce took it to school and said the two girls started arguing back and forth about who would get the coat. So basically, jealous. Okay, it's getting jealousy. But I don't know that life of like being yeah, I'm not light skinned, right? I'm like caramel, right? I don't know that life of being right. I don't know that life of being light skinned with light eyes and long hair. I think that's a thing that people be jealous of in the Black community, colorism and uh people who care about hair length. And I just feel like Beyonce having those hazily green eyes, whatever she got, and light skin, long hair, and just kind of quiet, I could see the girlies being like, I don't like her. She thinks she better than me. She thinks she da 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 da. But really, it's just a self thing. Beyonce really is very pretty. It took blue for me to see it, low-key. What? Girl, no. Beyonce been that bitch. Been that bitch since 16 and my stilettos stepping in this game. Something happened for real, for real. But overall, I enjoyed the book. It was, like I said, I cried 3 times. I only remember the mother dying part that I cried on, but I cried 2 other times. I can't remember what that was about. And I think I cried at when she talks about Beyonce's like miscarriages and how people were when she got pregnant with Blue. People were saying that she wasn't pregnant for real, and after she had just had like a really devastating miscarriage or something like that. I might have been a little bit of a hater. I love Beyonce, but she has always seemed so country to me. I liked all the girls in the group. They all was country. And that's why when they be talking about she not country, like who are you talking about? I don't understand. What is country to you? White? Because that's crazy. That's actually crazy. And you know why? Look up the history of why they call it a cowboy boy and see who was the cowboys. Huh? Huh? Why you think they call them boy? Huh? Okay. Listen, don't get me to going. Okay. People saying Beyonce not being country was so wild to me. Right. I don't understand that at all. Like at all. I just think they imagine because she is so rich and famous that she's not country. But yet and still they'll say that Keith Urban is country. He's not even ain't he from Australia or some shit? And then they'll say that Carrie Underwood, or not Carrie Underwood, one of them girls is from Canada, but they think they're country. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's just racism, basically. It's just racism. But Beyonce, I don't know if y'all saw this, but Beyonce just dropped some new merch, a new hat in New York or New Jersey or whatever she at right now that say "Been Country." It's like a license plate, look like a license plate, and say "Been Country." Yeah, so she better have some new merch in Atlanta because don't play with us. Okay. Hopefully my wrist will be healed by then. I need to learn some lyrics because I realized when I got there that I don't know a lot of lyrics for Cowboy Carter. I just be going off of vibes. But that one part where she be rapping, they call me the devil, the assassin, the nigga yapping, all of this bitch and all of this expedition, just a bitch. I don't know that. I need to practice, okay? Because I want to go and I want to sing all the lyrics, okay? It's my third and final show of Cowboy Carter. I need to sing down. I want to be hoarse when I come out of there. Okay. All right, y'all. I am going to hop right back on for those of you who would like to just shoot the shit with me. I do recommend the audiobook if you are more into like listening to a story, hearing the emotion. I recommend the physical book if you like that tangible quality and you want to see the pictures, because I'm going to buy the book for the pictures. But yeah, overall, it was a great book. You know what I want to read or listen to is Leslie Jones. What's that girl name from SNL? Hey, alien superstar. I'm about to hop off of here, but I'm gonna get right back on. Leslie Jones, is that her name? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Apparently, her audiobook is different from the book because she got on there and just started talking. Now, look, this happened. I said, oh, yeah, that's the kind of book I need, baby. So whatever her book is, I got to look that up. But that's going to be on one of these months. I'm going to read that because I just like for people to just talk to me regular. Talk to me nice. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Bye, y'all. Love you. Okay. Love you. Bye. Love you. Bye. Oh, it's awkward because I got to push buttons. Okay.